Coach, excuse me. All right, guys, on the PDR Coach podcast, I always want to showcase people in every part of this industry, from the most advanced technicians that I've had on to the ones just starting out. Today on the podcast, I'm interviewing one of the newest PDR techs to our industry. He's been a body tech for over 15 years and has been training in paintless dent repair for years, and has finally decided to take the full-time leap from body shop into the PDR world. I believe as of our recording today on June 9th, he is 3 days into his full-time PDR business of Campbell Dent Repair. And we're going to talk about his journey from getting to where he was in the body shop world to starting his own business. So welcome to the podcast, Ryan Campbell. What's up, man?
Thank you. Not much. How you doing?
Great, dude. I always like to start at the beginning. I just introduced you a little bit, and you are I guess you can't say you are a body tech anymore. You're a PDR tech, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. Yep.
How'd you get into the body shop world? And let's start with that.
So started, as a kid watching my dad. He was a, old 80s and early 90s body tech, and he moved up hurt his knee, and he was a writer. But he would always help me work on my vehicles when I was younger, and when he would restore cars in the garage, I would help him, and I was always there for it. That's all there was to do, is help him out. So after years of him telling me, don't do this, you better not follow my footsteps, I did it, and it worked out good. I started off as a detailer at about, I think I was 14 years old. I wasn't even driving yet, because I'd go in with him to work, and I was polishing cars. And, from there, I gained interest in every aspect of the body shop and worked my way up. I got into disassembling and writing cars. I was a parts manager, checking parts in for, it was a 3-cell body shop. So it was like 3 body shops. So I was checking parts in for all 3 cells, and I learned that aspect of it. And then I had a good friend of mine, his name was Shun. He told me, he's like, hey, if you follow these steps, in 5 years, you're going to make this much money being a body guy. And I never knew, until you hear it from somebody, you don't know what you can make or what you're capable of as a body tech. You see these dirty guys outside smoking cigarettes, all dusty, and you're like, I don't want to be that. But it turned out to be good. And he was right. And everything went good. And I surpassed what his anticipations were for me. And, I did pretty good. Sorry, I got a phone call coming in. Let me ignore that. All right. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But yeah, it was cool having that mentor in the body industry, to kind of give me a future idea. And for paintless dent repair, these podcasts are so cool, because I never knew until, a year ago when I started listening to them. I never had anybody to look up to and see what they were doing. The only thing I had, were body techs, and you know who to listen to, who not to listen to, and, keep your opinions to yourself with everything, and you just move up, So then I started to do heavy collision work, and after, Sean convinced me to, and got pretty good at it. And you see these PDR guys come in, and you hear about Hale guys, and nobody wanted to talk to me, the local guys. So it was, I was blindfolded to it, but I wanted to do it.
Yeah. And, just to stop you real quick, just to clarify, like you've been a body guy for a long time. I know a lot of body technicians I've been doing dent repair for 15 years. So over the years, guys have asked me, or not so much asked me, but more than like watched me. And you can tell that there's a fascination with what we do, and they're curious and interested in what we do. I've always taken the time to showcase to them, hey, you can definitely do this. It's training. It's this. You can make it happen. So from a body guy's perspective, you see the PDR guy for the first time come into your shop. There's always the story. The guy comes in there, he's fixing door ding in 15 minutes, and then you see the invoice and you're like, that's interesting. Talk to you about that, the first time you saw that happen, and when you got that light bulb in your head, like, maybe PDR might be a better way to go.
Yeah, well, it was, early stages of being a body man. I've seen the guys coming in. We use the same guy I've known in the PDR field for all the body shops locally has been the same guy for a long time. And, you know, I see him come in, you know, driving his big diesel truck and pulls his tools out, walks in with 2 rods, and he never even used a light. He just used like a PVC tube with a line on it. I'm like, you know, meanwhile, I have $40,000 worth of tools and a tool bill with the tool truck. And I'm like, look, this guy has some sticks and he leaves here making tons of money. He definitely made it look easier than it is. You know, there's a lot to it. You know, seeing him clean in his shorts with like, the dude would wear like golf shoes coming in because he's going golfing the rest of the day after he does his couple dents, you know? So obviously anybody in their right mind would see him making it look easy and, you know, and want to do that, you know, while I'm standing there all dusty, sweaty. And, you know, you have to do a lot of body work and be very efficient at it to make that, you know, that kind of income. You know, you gotta be fast, and it takes time, and it takes a lot of expensive tools, which so does PDR. Now I realize, you know, those couple sticks are pretty expensive when you have to have every stick, you know, and the lights and stuff. But yeah, I saw him do that, and then it took a while before I seen any invoicing, you know, so I didn't know what he was making. I seen it looked like an easy job, and he'd come in, bust stuff out, and leave. But once I started to you know, use a computer system and see invoices, it was very inspiring, you know. And I just, you know, you try to talk to that guy, and not all PDR guys are like that, I realize now, but you try to talk to him, he would like hold information, like he would stop working if you watched him, he wouldn't keep working. Like he was, he's still like that, a little different, but very good tech. And, you know, I looked up to him, so it's good that he came around, and I saw how he did things and stuff. And later on down the road, I decided to take a stab at it, and I went online. And actually, a buddy of mine.
Let me stop you real quick. I definitely that is the next step I want to get to. But just to go back real quick, I mean, obviously, listening to the podcast and having people to look up to and to become some sort of a mentor or whatever through listening to them, or like you mentioned earlier, just to see what's possible. And that's kind of why I want to have you on, because I have a lot of body guys that ask me, and I want you to be that example. And we're going to get into that of how you go from the body guy into the PDR world. Where do you start? How do you practice? How do you do all those things? So I want you to be able to be that example for all the body guys out there that listen to this, that say PDR is too hard. I don't know where to start. I can't leave. I'm doing 200 hours a week flat rate. How could I leave that? Et cetera, right? So definitely. I appreciate you saying that as far as having a mentor, and everybody needs mentors and can be a mentor. And that's what you're going to be to a lot of people. So there was a point where you decided like, okay, I need to learn how to do this. You went online, found some training or something, right? So
So went online, the way I did it, you know, a buddy and I are talking, a body guy, and went online, found the training to you know, found a bunch of training, and we didn't know what tools to give and anything. So we wanted to go see what it was all about. And it was easier to do it with a friend because you're kind of not going in it blind. You're going in it together. Kind of like if somebody partners up with a shop, say you open a shop, it's always easier to partner with somebody because you have another mind to help you, you know, be strong through it, I guess, and motivate you to get through it. So the way I did it is, my friend Steve and I, we found a place, and we traveled down to Kentucky, took our, you know, 2 weeks vacation, and paid for it all out of our savings. And I honestly didn't know what to expect. I had no clue what tool did what was what. You know, I could fix cars.
You had never pushed on a dent, right, with a PDR rod. You've only seen it.
With some pry bars and, you know, doing body work, you know, getting behind there and like, oh yeah, look at this, it's moving out, 50%. You know, big, you know, if that 40%, and then the rest glazed, you know. But so other than that, and roughing metal out, knowing how to tap crowns down, you know, body guys, we feel there's no gloss to it, so we use our hands and we feel the panel. So other than my body experience, never pushed a dent. Went into this completely blind, not knowing what to expect at the end. But, you know, I went there, and class was great. You know, it was hot. I think it was July, and down in Kentucky it was pretty warm. and it was a lot better with my friend. He kind of pushed me into it. Now he didn't really take off with it.
Mm-hmm.
He just kept doing the body work thing, and I don't know if he just veered off a little bit different direction, but he still does it. He toys with it here and there. Hopefully soon I can motivate him and like he did with me to go do the classes, and I could get him up and running again, and hopefully, one day we could work together. But cool. He's still doing body work. Yeah, it would be pretty cool. So after doing the class, you kind of have the idea of it, how to read the metal,
mm-hmm.
and you're like, wow, it kind of, for a body guy, even if a body guy goes to the PDR class, to read where the lines pinch, and, that's your high spot. And it really would be beneficial for body guys, even if they're not planning on going full time as PDR techs, to know how to work the metal out, and
right.
how different metals work, and temperatures to get aluminum too, so it'll work easier. And it would be beneficial for them to do that, just to make more money as a body guy. And I noticed that right away. I got back to the shop, bought some tools. I bought, the basic kit off A1, a couple fluorescent lights, because that's what the guy was teaching us on. He didn't use LEDs at the time, so I wanted exactly what he was training me on, so I didn't mess anything up, so I could kind of merge into it. And I just practiced, man, on every body job that would come in, and then I got a little faster, and it was actually speeding my body repairs up. And obviously, when you do like a push to paint, is what I would call it,
mm-hmm.
It's a better repair. You're using less filler. You're not sanding as long. And it gets into the paint line faster. And yeah, I had pretty expensive body tools as PDR rods and lights and stuff to do that with, but I was getting the practice. And then from there, the shop I was working at the time, I told him, for a year, I'll do your dents.
So hold on real quick. So as you came back from PDR training, had some tools, and then as a body guy, you got a dent, let's say a dent in a door, and you were getting back there and pushing it as a PDR tech for as long as you could before you put a skim coat on and painted it. Okay. So that's where a lot of your initial practice came from, and all big dents, obviously. You weren't fixing 1-inch dents at all.
Yeah. Sometimes I would do smaller dents and I would toy with them. So body shops use a lot of used panels. So a used door, a used hood, insurance companies are trying to save their money.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have used panels, and, let's get it right. After a door gets taken off at the junkyard, thrown in a truck, drugged to the body shop, it has some dents and dings,
mm-hmm.
and some of them are small, and you get we call LKQ, repair time, on it. And they take the cost off the door. So I was getting hours to PDR these doors when they would come in, and I wouldn't have to glaze them. The paint techs loved it because they didn't have to prime. It was less work for them. All around, it worked out. So I did do smaller dents. The majority of the stuff was the larger dents that I would work out with PDR, and with everything being R&I, because it's getting painted, your access, and where reinforcement beams are, and access through taillights when you pull the wires out, and you really get, and obviously cars change every day. New cars are coming out, so you got to stay on top of that. But it gave me a lot of practice in paintless dent repair, and it helped me tremendously, just having that paintless dent repair knowledge. And I was very, very green then, and just it made my hours go up at work. It was cleaner work, happier painters, happier boss, cars are getting moved quicker, and I was happy because I was getting the practice. So, I was looking at the big picture and making money while I was doing it. So it was very beneficial to do that.
So, and we talked a little bit before, and then you said at this point, you've been doing that for a long time, using mostly push to paint stuff for a long time. And then you kind of transitioned into doing more actual PDR, like finished PDR without painting a panel. And talk about some, like, the deal you had worked out with the body shop about how you were going to be able to practice, but aid in the body shop revenue.
So the way I was a hourly body tech when I went to the PDR school.
Mm-hmm.
So being an hourly body tech, I worked a deal with my boss. I told him, because I didn't know how good I was going to be out of school and stuff. And other than practicing on all the wrecked panels and stuff like that,
sure.
I started to get good at it. And I told him, I would like to practice and I'll do all your PDR work. Worst case scenario, we have to resort to repairing and painting it, but it'll be worked out. So he would give me a lot of dents. I did that for a full year with them. He let me do all my collision work, my framework, and then anytime he would land a PDR job, it gave me the chance to actually finish a dent, and I had to work for it. And I took my time, being hourly technician at that time. I was able to take my time, work the dents out. He was happy, and he took advantage of it to a point where he was making me do big dents. But you know what? I thank him for that.
Yeah.
Because it by forcing me to do it, I'm hourly. I have to try it no matter what. He's the boss, and you know what? It worked out so much more than the money I made working hourly doing the dents. It was I can't thank him enough for pushing me, and he was getting the advantage of it by getting paid for PDR with it, but it benefited me tremendously for my career and my end goal.
Yeah, your perspective on that situation is very important. Obviously, our thoughts and perspective on situations are what control our lives. And that could have gone two different ways, because if you look at the numbers that we talked about, and I don't know if you want to share them or not, but the amount, basically you made a deal with him, said basically he was going to spend a certain amount of money on tools or something, right? And then you were going to, if you didn't build that, I don't remember what the number was. Do you want to share the number?
Yeah, I'll share it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I told him, because we had to figure out a way, being hourly and doing all his dent work. What I ended up talking to him was he pays $2,000 for tools.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got my A1 kit, my fluorescent light and stuff. And you get a good startup kit for the $2,000, and I told him I'll do all his dents for a year. And we made, I want to say it was almost $35,000 in just PDR work in that year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not including R&I trim panels. That's not including, all the body work, and like say I was doing a dent to avoid blends, stuff like that. Sorry, I had another phone call.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. So where was I?
Yeah. So basically, you worked out a deal. You paid $2,000 for tools, and you told him, I will make you that money back. If I don't, then I'll pay for the tools. But if I do, we're good. Right. And so he didn't keep track of those invoices. You had kept track of the invoices for a year is what you had told me before. And so at the end of the year, he's like, oh yeah, I think we made more money. And you're like, no, we made $35,000. Right. So your perspective on that situation is important, because a lot of guys would not even enter into that scenario because they would feel like they would get taken advantage of, right? Like they're providing the value, they put up all the work, they did all this, and they made the body shop owner a bunch of money. But what that did for you, obviously, was got you where you were today. And your perspective on it was like, thank you. I'm glad that he put me in that situation, right? I have the same perspective too. I started dent repair in high school. My dad forced me to go out to work with him so I wouldn't get in trouble on summers in between high school, right? And I'm like, God, I don't want to do that. I just want to go have fun and do my own thing. And I'm like, looking back, my perspective on that is I'm so grateful that he made me go do that, because that started me on my PDR journey, right? So our perspective on situations is obviously super important. So you did that. You spent a year, you made 35 grand, and now you're like, okay, I can do this. Right?
Yeah. After that full year, and I did all kinds of different dents, different vehicles, all kinds of stuff. So it was awesome. And I honestly, the only reason I really kept track wasn't to like rub it in their face. I just wanted to make sure I hit up with the deal.
Yeah.
I wanted to make them more than $2,000, and that was the goal. And I started looking at my book, and I'm like, holy cow, I'm all right, we're good. So after the year, I told him I'd do it for a year, and if I held up to my end, to give me a little percentage or something, like a 1% of every day. Nothing. I wasn't asking for a lot. Let it add up for a month and give me a bonus. Unfortunately, I don't he had different plans, and he didn't think that was a good idea. So I then moved on to another shop. There's a couple other things that went on there, and I thanked them and moved on. Well, the next shop at that time, I created an LLC. I had my company going. After that full year of doing that many dents, I felt comfortable enough, at least to be, legal and charge tax. I got my vendor's license, all my stuff I had to do, which I had no clue what to get. My wife and I were just searching, and I was asking people that had businesses on what to do and what I needed. And I didn't know of any podcasts or anything PDR. This is all fresh. I had no clue what I was doing, but I trial and error. I made mistakes here and there, and I made a legitimate company. And when I moved on from that body shop, I moved to a new shop, and I sat down. The owner knew that I was a very good body tech, and he knew what hours I can turn, and he wanted me there. Whatever it took, he wanted me there. So what we did, we worked a deal out where my company does all the PDR work for his shop while I'm there. And this time I'm flat rate. So being a flat rate body tech, and you're turning your hours each week, and you're getting your jobs done, everything's good. It didn't interfere with the dent work, didn't interfere with my hours. So we were good. So I would invoice each dent, that would come in. I would haul my tools in my truck every single day to work with me. That way, if any customer wanted to drop off, if how many dents I did for the shop that, body guys are fitting a fender, and I would help them out, but they were all my friends. So a lot of them I did for free, just to help my friend out so they didn't get in trouble for denting a new fender. And then the painters loved it because they didn't have to repaint it, so everybody loved me, and that was awesome. I like helping people out, and whatever I could do, is what I wanted to do. But I invoiced through that shop on top of the hours I was turning. At the time, I was 135 to 155 hour tech each week at the time. And I was billing out anywhere from $600 to $1,200 each month in just one body shop. And I was being there from I think it was 6:30 to 5 o'clock that I was there, and I was turning hours, working, and writing invoices and doing PDR work. I was there nonstop, all week. So any dents that came in, customer would wait. I would knock them out. Bigger ones, they would drop off. And I helped all my friends out, like I said. So when they dented stuff, I put a lot of fires out, they call it, in a body shop,
Yeah, you passed over pretty quickly the transition from one body shop to the other. So you made the deal, the $2,000, and then you'll do PDR for a year, and you were hoping, hey, and had a discussion with them. Hopefully, maybe you'll give me a little kickback on the PDR if I do exceed that, because you knew you would. You knew you'd exceed $2,000. There's no question about that. Yeah. And you did, and he didn't give you the bonus. And instead of sticking around there or bitching about it or trying to change him, you controlled what you can control, and you actually just remove yourself from the situation to go provide value somewhere else. So super important. I don't want to pass over that, because the biggest skill that we have in our life is controlling our own self, always providing value. Now you're providing value in two different ways: a body guy and a PDR guy. So instead of, feeling like a victim or feeling like a situation you couldn't control where he wasn't going to give you bonus and you just continue to say do dent repair, you're marketable. You went out there and you found another place to put yourself. And I think that's important, because I know a lot of body guys who show up to work every day and bitch about what they have to do, who they have to work for, or the situation that they're in, but they don't remove themselves from that situation and can go somewhere else. We always have control over that. And so I just wanted to point that out, that that's a very important thing. And I'm glad you passed over it like it wasn't a big deal, but I think it is a big deal. I think there's a lot of people who don't do that stuff, and you're just like, oh, I just left and found another job. That's a big deal. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean, as you make these transitions in your life from deciding to pay, $5,000 to $10,000 to training, and then making that deal with the body shop, and then moving body shops. And then, so now you're in this new body shop, you have your LLC, it's Campbell Dent Repair, right? I think. Yeah.
Campbell Paintless Dent Repair LLC.
Campbell Paintless Dent Repair. And so now you're running invoices through that company, and also a flat rate tech. So then talk about what happened there. So now we're getting closer, right? From training to where you actually 3 days ago started your own PDR business. We're getting there. It's a long journey, obviously. So now what happens at that shop to make it so that you get one step closer to doing PDR full time?
So after that journey of being, I was at that shop for, I want to say 3.5 or 4 years. Unfortunately, my boss, which was awesome, and I had it good there, so I never had the anticipation to leave. He helped me out. He's a great guy. You know, we'd go ride 4-wheelers on the weekend, you know, together, and he would always help me out. And for him to do all that, I didn't want to ever mess anything up, so I stayed there. Well, he ended up selling to one of the big MSO, you know, body shops, bought him out. And,
you can say who, because there's only one choice, really.
Yeah. All right. So I do work for them, so I didn't want to like.
That's
but
totally
it's clear, you know. It was bought out by. He was bought out by Abra, and they sat down with me and my boss Tom Griffin, which amazing guy. He helped me out beyond belief. He sat down with the guy from Abra and he said, "This is how it's going to be with Ryan. And this is what it is. This is what we've done. If you want to keep this technician that is I was turning the most hours in both body shops. He had 2 shops that he sold. The shop I was at, I was the highest producing tech out of both.
And doing PDR.
And doing all this PDR, making him a lot of money. But he was helping me out. He did it right and let me invoice it. So he was getting a markup. I was getting paid the correct amount.
And
life was good. And learning, and you know, I was dealing with customers, you know, giving them estimates up front, stuff like that. But they ended up calling one of the local guys in. I don't know, after we had an agreement and Tom told them like, hey, this is how it is. They ended up calling another guy, the guy that I saw come in when I was a detailer.
10 years ago,
you know, been around. So, you know, that kind of, it's very hurtful when you work that hard for a company and it just gets bought out and then they do that to you. So I kept quiet. You know, I sat the manager down and had to talk with him, so I wasn't too quiet with him, but I was respectful about it. I was a little loud, but I was respectful about it. And I told him, I said, hey, we had an agreement. And they said, you can do it before and after hours. I said, you know, in 3.5, 4 years, there's never an issue with it. You know, and I spoke my mind. You know, you could be quiet and let it go, and, you know, but I would still be in that position. So I spoke up about it. And from that point, the Caliber ended up buying Abra. So our agreement, because I started doing the dents for them, they said before and after hours, and it was working just like it was. You know, I'd stay late, come in early, and do dents. They weren't really upselling a lot like Tom would for me. So it slowed down. You know, it went from 600 to 1,200 a month down to 100 to 400 maybe. You know, some months I didn't even have anything to bill. So I said, you know, again, it might be time to explore my options and see what there is out there. And at the time, I don't know if it was just fear. I think it was the fact that I was blind to paintless dent repair industry. I didn't know any of you guys. I didn't know there was even podcasts. I don't even think I knew what a podcast was then. And
Facebook groups, all those, Mobile Tech Expo, all those things were not.
I never even knew what Mobile Tech Expo was. I had nobody to ask questions like I did in the coming up into the body field. Like my buddy Sean, he was like my coach, you know, my mentor, told me what I could do. And then once I got past that, the whole thing where I wasn't billing a lot of work, and I told you I had to keep my options open. I ended up going and talking to another big shop, and it was still, you know, family owned shop. It was closer to home, and this is 2 years ago, so we're getting real close to where I'm at now. And the guy, you know, sat me down, said, "You got all my dents." He wanted me there as a body guy because he knew what the word around here, people know a good body guy because there's a big shortage of body guys. Area, you know? So, so he knew who I was. I had a friend that worked there, and he explained to him. So he sat me down, and pretty much the same thing that my old boss said is, you got all my dent work. You work here, flat rate. He actually bought a used car liner frame rack just for me. So I'm like, shit, I got my own frame rack. Life is good. He didn't, in the very beginning, I think he didn't trust me or know me good enough that he still said, he's like, I don't want to burn any bridges with our PDR guy that we use, which is that same guy that has been around for a long time.
The one tech in Ohio or whatever you are.
Yeah, Northeast Ohio. There's a couple others, but for body shops, this dude has it. You know, he's just been around, and there's better ways to do things than how he does it. But people know him, and that's the first thing they think is him to call. So my new boss was still using him quite a bit, and meanwhile, I'm getting ramped up at a new body shop. I was turning a lot of hours because I wasn't doing a lot of paintless dent repair.
Yeah.
And that guy kept coming in. There was times where, I'm getting ramped up with the shop, so I was slow, and I'm standing by my toolbox, walking around the shop, trying to figure out what to do, what to get ahead and make sure I can turn my hours that week, setting stuff up, talking to painters, talking to guys up front, next job that comes in, hey, bring it to me. I'm doing everything I can because I'm slow at the time for body work. And that guy walks in and he's doing dents, and that went on for a full year. And I was it's not like me, but I stayed tough through it and kept my mouth shut, kind of, brought it up here and there and said, you're not sticking to your word. You're not sticking to your word. Nothing was in paper or anything, but I knew that it was a way of, it was a sign for me that, hey, your time's coming. You got to go on your own soon. You have to go on your own soon. And I knew it was in my head. I'm like, I'm just not ready. I wanted to save more money up just to make sure I have 2 kids, a wife. I have a couple rental houses, which I actually purchased the last one in order as a cushion. I used my savings to buy this, and I'm like, okay, each month I could have this income coming in. So I really set myself up to, if I do have slow days while I'm getting my name out there, which, for 6.5 years of doing paintless dent repair, I'm doing it on the side after I'm working full time. People started to know me, and I only had a Facebook page. I didn't really know much about Google, and I'm like, oh, I'm not paying for a website, because I was scared I would get too much work, and then I would have to, like, I don't even know why I would be scared about that.
See, that's the interesting thing that we talked about is that you were so scared to leave the body shop that you created all the fear inside you that you wouldn't get work, but then you didn't want to do advertising because you were scared you would do too much work. At this point, you knew you could do dent repair. You knew you would get the customers. But there is that fear of indecision, the fear of the unknown that does scare people. So from training to today, we're at 6.5 years, right? From dent repair training to now. Doing it over, do you think, or someone else, do you think it can be done faster, and how?
Definitely could be done faster. If, like I said, we'll compare it to Sean that trained me in the body industry and taught me how to, I did body work with my dad in the garage when I was younger, but Sean, that guy, he showed me where I could be, right? He said in 5 years, you'll be making $72,000. I promise. Well, in 5 years, I was over 90,000. I think I was over 100,000 in 5 years. So I blew past what he said, but when you're making not a lot of money and somebody says that to you and paints the picture like, dude, I did it. So you can do it. I see it in you. When you have somebody to guide you through and you can ask questions to and talk to you, the speed, because it makes your mindset so much better, and you got the end picture in your mind. It's possible. This guy did it. I didn't have that with paintless dent repair. I had no clue. Obviously you drive down the road, you see a lot of cars with dents. It's a whole nother thing to, know that person wants it fixed or not, so to have somebody not hold your hand, but coach you through and tell you what you can do and give you pointers, then it's up to you. Where you could be. You can blow that goal out of the water. And that's what I did with body work. So with paintless dent repair, after that first year at that body shop, if I had somebody or knew of somebody that was willing to just take me for a ride in their truck on a Saturday, and I could see what it was about and know the possibilities of what you can do. I didn't know. I thought, $1,000 a month through the body shop I was selling was great. We do that a day now. It's like, there's a lot.
That's exactly why I do what I do. That's why I coach guys, obviously, because I think that part of it is important. And I think it's for all levels, for guys just starting out to guys that have been doing PDR for 5-10 years and are full-time doing $800, $1,000 a day billing and want to create a even larger business or a 7-figure business with other technicians and things like that. So there's always more to grow. There's always other levels to get to. And sometimes you just need to show them that it's possible, or sometimes you just need to talk to somebody and work through the crap in your head that is talking to you like, I don't think I could do it. And then also on the other side saying like, I don't want to advertise, I'll get too much business, right? Like just talk through those things and hone it down to where you know that you're capable and that you can do it. So you mentioned it a little bit, and you were that body guy that saw the dent guy coming in. Pretty much everybody listening to this is a dent guy. What did you want? What did you want from that dent guy? Like as a body man, looking at him, seeing what he did, it's been a long time in this industry since the 90s that, like you said, people will hide. They'll stop working. They won't show what we're doing or whatever. I think that's changing. I think there's more than enough work to go around, and we want good PDR techs that know how to do PDR and charge, et cetera. So as a body man looking at him, so you can teach us PDR guys, what did you want to hear from him? Like what discussion did you want to have so that you could feel like PDR was possible for you?
I almost how Shun was to me with body. I wanted to help him. And, a couple times when I did approach him, I said, hey man, if I see now a young man with the drive that I had, and he knew me, he knew who I was, he knew what I can do. If I had a guy approaching me and I knew what he was capable of, he is a dedicated person. He's ignorant for not taking me on. I offered to him to go do all his R&Is on weekends for him for free. And he just, nope. Yeah. He told me for $40,000, I'll let you come with me. Why would I want the competition? Well, he was blindfolded to the fact where I probably would have been working for him.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He would have been making a percentage of what I'm doing now.
Right.
And he would have been benefiting from it. So he was blindfolded to the fact where like, dude, you have a piece of gold getting thrown at you where you can grow your company. He's still a one-man crew, and maybe that's what he wants to be. I don't know.
That's fine.
But yeah. And he just, I needed a person like Shun was to me in the body field to just say, hey, if I had a young kid come up to me and I could tell him, hey, I can make you $50,000 a year. You can go do all the used car lots until you get good. And here you can make this much a year after that. Once you get good and you stay under my wing, I'll coach you, and then you got somebody that's out there that you can trust that's doing it for you, helping you, and you're good to go.
I think
he left that on the table.
Yeah. I think what we miss is PDR guys. And I don't know how many people are doing this anymore. I suspect that the people listening to the podcast are not the guys that are treating body techs like that, because they're always learning, growing, looking for new ways to expand. So I would be my guess that these aren't the people, but there are a lot of dent guys out there that do shun the body guys. People like Ryan and other body guys are going to get into PDR anyways. So you can either know your competition fairly well, or maybe even have them work for you and help expand your business, or you can create enemies out of people who are going to go do PDR anyways. And that may be the position that your dent guy is in now, where now you have a body guy with 15 years of experience, 6 years of PDR experience. I've seen a lot of your work on your social media. You're doing fantastic dent repair. And now you're learning and growing, right? You're listening to the podcast, you're meeting new people, and you're getting new tools, and you're getting better and better. And there may become a time where he's asking you a couple of questions where he didn't have to be the case. So just something, if you aren't treating body guys like that, take them under your wing, man. Show them what's possible in this business, because they will look up to you. I mean, they already look up to you. The second a dent guy walks into a body shop, I think most body techs look at dent guys and say like, dang, I wish I could do that instead. And take them with you, or show them how they can, or just be there for them to call you. There's so much work to go around, I think, in every part of this industry, especially the retail side of it. I don't think we need to be scared of really good, solid more PDR techs coming into this industry. That leads me into asking you, like, I believe this PDR industry is just beginning. I've talked to a lot of guys about that. I think over the next 10 or 20 years, the growth is going to be fantastic, especially on the retail side. I think people are just barely getting to know what PDR is. You were in a body shop for 15 years. I've asked this to a bunch of body guys. How many, like, if you had to pick a percentage, I know you didn't do any statistics on this, but if you had to pick a percentage of how much work is going through a body shop that you know is PDRable, maybe you can't fix it at this point, or weren't able to several years ago, but you can look at that dent now because you've seen what people are capable of on Instagram and Facebook. Like, what percentage of stuff coming through body shop that's getting painted that shouldn't get painted? Do you have any?
Off the top of my head, and this is just a guess, I would say 50%.
50%, yeah.
I would honestly, yeah. Other than train wrecks that need frame rails replaced and stuff like that, I would say a good 50%. You know, and other than, you know, bumpers getting cracked, stuff like that, I would have to say around that. I might be a little high, but it depends on what kind of PDR tech you are. You know, I've fixed quarter panels, and, you know, I've spent some good time on them, but that would have gotten cut off and replaced at the body shop, and I didn't even have to paint them, and the customer was blown away. You know, it might have a little crack paint around the taillight that you brush touched it, but the customer would rather have that than have you cut their panel off, paint the whole side of their car. And to be honest, even me, with the eyes that we have, you know, being a body guy and seeing stuff, I was impressed at how things are coming out, and with all the glue pulling technology, you know, it's amazing the amount of metal you can move right away, and you get it all out and then you clean it up with
so I just
rod. You know,
did a quick Google search just out of curiosity. I hadn't done this, I've been meaning to, but the first thing that popped up, the U.S. automotive collision repair market size is expected to reach $35 billion in 2020. Maybe that was pre-COVID. Let's see, 2019, $34.3 billion. So if you're saying half, let's say a quarter of the stuff coming through body shops across the country can go to the PDR market. So that's what, $8 to $9 billion that we're not capturing currently because we don't have enough PDR techs capable of doing that. And so I think over the next 10 or 20 years, more people like you, Ryan, and other body guys that I know, more people that are getting training and getting into it and learning more and having, you know, better coaching and listening to the podcast, all that stuff, like $8 to $9 billion. I don't have the math. I don't have the capabilities of doing that math in my head, but if one tech can do a couple $100,000 a year, that's a lot of techs, I can say. I don't know how many, but it's a lot. I'll have to do the math on that. But as far as growth in this industry, I asked somebody yesterday too, in a body shop who's been a painter for 15 years, how many cars do you paint or that you've seen go through body work that could be done by PDR? Because he's getting trained in PDR in a couple of weeks and he knows, he's been following it. He said about 40%. So I'd have to ask more people. So, I mean, I don't know if he's right either, but let 25 to 50%, it's somewhere in that range, that body guys, painters, they know that they look at that dent and they're like, that could be PDR'd. And obviously it's not their job to not fix those things. That's their job to fix them. Got to do it. Right. But just the point being is that there's so much growth left in in the PDR industry, like to the tune of $8 to $10 billion left. So I don't fear more dent techs coming into the industry. I would rather be a coach or a mentor for them so that they can do it in the way that we have decided as an industry that is the quote unquote right way to do it. The using a pricing guide of some sort and finishing repairs correctly, learning how to glue pull, all those types of things. If we can teach those techs how to do that, instead of shunning them away from PDR, thinking they'll never get into it, I think the industry as a whole is just going to become greater and better, serve everybody better. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think for all the body techs that are listening or painters that are trying to get into it, I'm sure you're already Icar certified. You know how to R&I stuff like very fast. I took a door apart. It was a Elantra door last night. Took it apart, took the panel, the window, everything out, and put it back together after I was done with it. That I would say 15 minutes. And just knowing, having your scanner. I already have a scanner for pre and post scans.
Right.
Your body guy, you spend the money on the tools. You have all the tools needed to do R&Is, and you have it there. So you're already so far ahead. And I had a guy, a PDR guy, the guy that's been around forever, tell me, you're a body guy, you'll never get it. You would have to completely eliminate everything and start over. That's not true. You've worked metal for so long. We know what metal is what, how it's going to react for the most part. You get new cars. You have all the tools. We got everything at our fingertips. Not only that, you have the connections, you have the relationships with insurance adjusters, with glass guys that are coming in that know you, that can spread your name, throughout the other body shops. They go all around, and you use all that to your advantage. You're going to get far. And I'm excited to, after, 6 months or so, to come back on here and let everybody know how I'm doing. It's cool. Tuesday and I'm busy. I'm busy today. My phone was just I got 3 phone calls while we were on this podcast, and they were all people to get dents done, and I have 3 voicemails I got to return to, and I have a dent at the place I'm at right now. But for all the body guys, and I got to say, I had nobody to tell me to go for it, just do it, Ryan. I was scared, go, if you want to do it, invest the money. I spent good money on school, and I used my vacation time that year and didn't get to go on my vacation to Florida with my family or anything like that. So it's worth it though, because now doing my own thing, I can set my schedule and I can do those vacations that I miss. For example, today if I don't get these 2 jobs, I might schedule them for tomorrow, or the 3 jobs that called. I'm going to take my son to the dirt bike track, which I haven't seen my son in a long time because I get home, he's sleeping. So there's a lot more to it than just making the money, and you get to see your family more. You got a lenient schedule. Yesterday I went home and I ate lunch with my wife. She works from home, and I never got to do that before. So for all the body guys that are wondering, so far it's been amazing.
3 days in.
3 days in, yeah. And I'm the people you meet, the customers, and you go to businesses to do their dents, and everybody, you treat them good. Everybody, you have so many new friends. It's so cool, and you're getting the recognition for doing the good work. You're not the dirty tech in the back, and then nobody knows you're a body tech, and you're the one fixing their car. Nobody knows who's touching their car when you drop it off at a body shop. So, the pride you take in it when it's personal, one-on-one with the customer, it goes so far, and it's amazing feeling. It's better than the money to me.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of the flexibility of the PDR industry. I coach guys that want to work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and make a killing. And I also coach guys who want to work 3 days a week and coach guitar lessons on Fridays because they have a passion for that too. And you can still do just fine working 3 days a week, and you can do just fine. And he's older and he's more on the downward trajectory of his life and PDR business, but that's what he wants in life. That's what you can have. You can have those things. If you want to earn large paychecks, you can. If you want to have a work-life balance that you've never been able to have, you can do that too. So I appreciate you saying that. That's really cool. I love my industry because I have 3 kids also, and I love being able to coach their sports. And so I am always flexible to do that. When I have to get off on Tuesday by 5 o'clock, I do, no matter what, whether a body shop needs me or a dealership needs me or whatever. Like, I set boundaries with them. My family comes first. I will take care of them, but those are the things that are important to me and I want to make happen. And you get to do that in this industry when you own your business.
Yep, definitely.
What's your future like? I know you said, you actually mentioned, I don't think you talked about it on the podcast, but you have a small retail shop. What's your next 1 year, 5 year plan now that you are finally full bore into the PDR world? What do you want to see it look like?
So my main goal is to obviously grow. I have a lot of friends that are seeing me take the initiative to do this. And I've already gotten 5 calls from very good friends. And one is my brother that wants to get involved. He's a car salesman. So my goal is to get a crew together that I can trust and, trust with my name, going on this work. And I want to grow. I want to have a guy or 2 at my retail shop. And then I want to have a couple guys out on the road. I have a vehicle that I'm setting up right now. I've seen a lot of guys setups online on all the Facebook pages I'm on, where I'm taking the interior out of a Scion XB. I'm wrapping it in neon green with my logo on the side and making it look all gaudy and loud so everybody sees it. So I'm going to set it up. I'm going to set the van up. I guess we'll call it a van. And I'm putting shelving in it. And I'm going to make it so I could repeat it and make another one, the same exact thing. So this is kind of a demo for me. As I get time, I keep working on it. And I'm going to make it to a point where I could just mirror it. Yeah, just brand it and make a mirror image of it for the next guy. Load it with the tools. So I'll know that everything in that vehicle does everything I need to do on the road. When I go to my shop, it's going to be my toolbox. I'm going to pull it next to the door. I have tools at my shop too, but I want it all, in that car. So once I get that perfected, I'm going to make another one. I'm going to go buy one and create it. Whether I have a tech working for me or not, I'm still going to do it, invest back into it and have it there. So when I do hire a tech and get somebody up and running to the point, I could just send them on their way in that company vehicle. All their tools are there. They're set up. They're set up to win, So that's my goal with that. The retail shop, being a collision tech my whole life, I have painted, stuff like that. You have other things to offer customers, I've replaced, door glasses, back windows and trucks. I offer a wide range of, little small things that I'm equipped for. I can't do framework. I don't have a frame rack, so I don't want to get into all that either. Little jobs. I've pre-painted bumpers. I sub out my paint work to the shop I used to work for, and I'll have a job get a bumper pre-painted. Get the code, pre-paint the bumper, have it at the shop. They drop off. They pick up same evening. I want speed repairs. Just a non-structural shop that does mostly paintless dent repair. I know Ryan Hampton has a couple shops like that, and it's just. Yeah, Axiom. And that is just, it's such an inspiration to see these shops. And I know I've been talking to Jeremy Carroll. He's been awesome to talk to, and he's a real guy that tells you how it is. And I've been following his shop on Facebook before I even was listening to podcasts. As he's building it and as he's going, I had a friend share it to me. And I'm just like, wow, this guy's kind of crazy for building a big shop like that. That's amazing. Look at that shop. But you know what? Now I know that it's possible, and he does a great job, and, he does great work, and he offers detail, ceramic coating. I believe he does clear bras and stuff like that, the PPF. So you have that other option to offer other things you're good at. As a body tech, you can offer the mirror replacements, the bumper replacements, the little stuff to keep you busy, but obviously dent work will keep you busy enough is what I'm hoping. So
yeah, that's
but you have the option.
Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm planning on growing, and I definitely at my shop's, it's 1,000 square foot. I don't have an office, so the customers, they sit in the 2 little chairs and watch me when they hang out. But they honestly, every one of them, even like the older people, they love
the show
for me to, I just talk to them and, show them how it's done, and they love it. When I think they're coming in like, oh man, I got to sit here and watch this guy. No, they all really enjoy it. And I'm yet to have somebody say that they didn't, and it's super cool, so I might give customers an option when I get a bigger shop to have an office if they need to do their work while they're waiting, and give them the option to, maybe put plexiglass up with all the stuff going on and watch you work on their vehicle, if you're capable of dealing with that. I know it's a tough thing to do, but it goes a long way when they see what it's about, and then they go tell their friends, and you get more work out of it. And they,
super important. I always tell guys to the people that are interested is a fantastic opportunity to turn them into your salesman. Honestly, you spend an hour on their car, tell them what you're doing, how you're doing it, what's going on. They can see the dent, quote unquote, disappear before their eyes like magic or whatever. They turn into your salesman. I've spent the last 10 years, like every opportunity I can get, when the old guy's looking over your shoulder, standing up, pulls up a chair and sits there to watch you, or the younger people that are curious about it or whatever, just turn them into your salesman, because they will go tell everybody that they know if they see a dent in their car, because they will feel special now because they feel like they have knowledge that the other person doesn't, and that makes people feel good. And they'll say, hey, I see that dent in your car. Like, oh, I didn't even notice I was there. Like, yeah, I had Ryan fix my car a while ago. Go check him out. Like all those things, like just those little tiny things create massive change in your business. So I'm excited for your goals. I'm excited to see where you go. And I do hope maybe down the road, we can have you back on, and maybe 6 months or a year afterwards, and say, hey, here we are now. So again, on the podcast, I want to showcase guys that are doing great things in this industry, from the most advanced to the guys just starting out. And I have a feeling that if you guys are paying attention, you're going to hear Ryan Campbell's name down the road as one of those techs that makes a difference in this industry. So keep your eye on him. Go follow him on Facebook or Instagram. And he's a good dude and a great tech. Real quick before I end, how do we follow you on Facebook or Instagram?
On Facebook, just Campbell Paintless Dent Repair LLC. Just search Campbell Paintless Dent Repair.
Yep.
My website is campbelldentrepair.com, and my Instagram is Rye the Dent Guy.
Rye the Dent Guy.
So, yep.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Loved the story, and we'll keep talking.
Awesome. Thank you.